Hello there, welcome to the show. 2 channels here, now you know. Like and subscribe, it's all we need. Alternate, you're here to speak. And defense, let's take a peek. Collaborating for your eyes. Sharing content, no surprise. Together we shine brighter than one. Join our journey, it's just begun. Like and subscribe, hit that bell. Enjoy the show and wish us well.
What do you think? Hello.
Hello. Gabby, you're muted.
Welcome.
Governor.
Hello. Hello, Brian. Just in time.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I feel like we're on Hollywood Squares, the old Hollywood
Yeah.
Squares show. Yes.
Wet Willie.
I think if
And I can
Gabby
do this.
Block.
There we go. Look, I can shuffle you.
Oh, you're making me dizzy.
How are we all?
Fabulous, fabulous.
It's
Marvelous.
Did you
Friday.
like the new intro song with no copyright strike?
Yes. It was nice
Because
to
we
not wake
shine
up to that.
brighter as one.
Yes. That's right.
Yay.
In our perfect
Welcome.
world.
Welcome. We have the alternate jury here. We have
Hello.
the defence rests. We have Miss Gabby and Mr. Brybear for your entertainment. And we
the
have the Black
crowd
Swan.
goes wild.
That's really loud, Gabby.
I know.
But she still did it.
Welcome, chat. Welcome, everyone in. So I apologise. We ended early last night because of the trial
It was boring.
proceedings.
Just
It was
say it.
actually boring. Sorry. And I'm glad I didn't stay on because they did nothing but argue for pretty much the rest of the day, and they even went late. But they did get to the medical examiner, which was
A nothing burger.
yeah, pretty much. But we shall go through the medical examiner anyway, just because it covers what happened, and he explains the angles of the dangles and what have you. So, and that will give us time then to catch up on day 4, which will be starting shortly. But the court are going back. They're starting early this morning. They're starting at 8:30 because the defense is trying to get in an expert witness who is an expert on battered wife syndrome. And the state don't want this witness to come in.
Actually, I think they are starting at 9. The 8:30 start was for the judge. He's got to do something on another
hearings.
another case. So
was it another case? I thought he was hearing this morning.
He has to do a hearing on some incarcerated person. And
okay.
then he's going to start this trial at 9.
Okay,
So he
I thought the
thinks.
hearing was to do with this expert. Sorry, I didn't listen properly.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
And then
They
the
did
9,
the-
what's supposed
Sorry?
to be at 9 is the judicial assistant who's supposedly going to say that lawyer lied about the emails and the hearing that was supposed, or the report being released on the 30th. So
The lawyer
least
that
that's
approached
when they ended
the sheriff.
This trial is getting gets off the rails so fast.
Yeah,
Oh.
no, the lawyer in the fuchsia dress that her
Oh,
eyebrows
okay.
don't move, her face doesn't move.
Yeah, she's had some work done for sure.
She said, like, "You looked better before. I guarantee it, woman. You were not a bad-looking woman. Stop it. You can ruin your face."
All right. So, shall we watch this medical examiner?
There he is.
Hello.
Gabby, you're gonna have to get ready and join us one of these days.
Yeah, yeah.
My camera doesn't work now. I
Well,
still can't figure it out.
Take the
Did you
tape
Google
off.
it?
Yeah,
How long are you with us, Bri?
As long as I can hang out.
Did you work last night?
Actually, it was a very busy night. Not too hectic.
Have you got an hour or not?
Yes,
Okay.
at least
sweet.
an hour. At least an hour.
All right. Lovely. Okay. Let's do it, shall we?
Let's do it.
Da, 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 da.
Action.
Let me know if you can hear. We are boosted.
Carmen. I told her to take the tape off the front of it because I know there's a piece of tape there. She showed me.
Yes, I do. Thank you. Hello, sir. I'm Judge White. I'm presiding over this case. As the deputy said, just make yourself comfortable in that chair. Get about 12 to 15 inches from the microphone. It just does adjust up, down, left, to right as you need.
How come the
Give a
women
loud,
are
clear
like
voice. We should hear
up
it.
here for 12 to 15
I will. Thank you, Your Honor.
inches? And the men
I
are
know.
like back here for 12 to 15 inches.
Because women get told
Thank you.
6 inches.
I'll bring them in individually to ask
Oh,
about
shit.
that.
I pressed the wrong button. Went all the way back. Did you hear me yesterday? I just said I did an AJ.
I was driving. I was laughing. I was like, this is hilarious. You got out of the way early, and it's
You went
Friday.
back. You went back 6 inches.
Yeah, I did pretty much. I can't point my arrow.
That was the last trial.
Yes, I do.
I was on the keyboard going L L L L.
Thank you. Hello, sir. I'm Judge White. I'm presiding over this case. As the deputy said, just make yourself comfortable in that chair. Get about 12 to 15 inches from the microphone. It just does adjust up, down, left, to right as you need. Speak in a loud, clear voice. We should hear everything.
I will. Thank you, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, doctor.
Good afternoon.
Would you please state your full name and spell your last name for the record?
Certainly. My name is Russell Scott Vega, last name spelled V-E-G-A.
And how are you employed?
I'm the Chief Medical Examiner for the 12th District of Florida, and that includes Sarasota County, DeSoto County, and here in Manatee County as well.
And how long have you been a medical examiner?
I finished my training in 1997, so more than 25 years.
And how long have you been the chief medical examiner?
Here, so October 1st will be 21 years.
And you said here, were you a medical examiner somewhere else before?
I was an associate medical examiner in Hillsborough County for 4+ years.
And what kind of education do you obtain to become a medical examiner?
Well, I mean, it's different from person to person a little bit. I can tell you my own personal experience.
Yes, please, yours.
Certainly. So I did my undergraduate studies at Florida State University. I majored in physics and biochemistry.
I was about to say she's wearing the same thing as yesterday.
After my undergraduate, I went to medical school at the University of South Florida. I graduated from medical school in 1990. Following that, I did 2 years of training in general surgery and then 4 years of training in anatomic and clinical pathology. Pathology, it's a specialty of medicine that focuses on how to diagnose diseases based on looking at cells, fluids, tissues, biopsies, organs, and by doing autopsies. Finally, after all that, I did a 1-year fellowship in forensic pathology. That's the subspecialty which really focuses on performing autopsies and doing death investigations.
Thank you, sir. And what are your current duties as a chief medical
Duties.
examiner, or at least, yes, as a chief medical examiner?
So as the
Duties
chief
and
medical
units.
examiner, I administer the
Mhm.
office here. So I manage the staff, I set policy, do procedures, and I do some of the casework myself. So I do some of the autopsies and death investigations.
So you do still conduct autopsies regularly?
I do.
And do you know how many approximately autopsies you've conducted in your lengthy career?
I don't know exactly. I suspect it is getting close to 4,000.
And of those, can you have any involved gunshot wounds?
Very many of them.
And so that was my next question. The percentage, do you think it's a lot?
Yeah, I can't tell you the percentage, but I've examined many hundreds of gunshot wounds.
Thank you, sir. And is wound, I'm going to draw your attention back to September of 2020. Did you conduct an autopsy on Douglas Benefield?
I did.
And when did you do that?
The autopsy was performed in the morning of September 28th of 2020.
And can you explain how you, your procedure for conducting an autopsy?
Certainly. And I don't think my procedure is greatly different from other medical examiners or forensic pathologists. But the procedure starts with the examination of the body in its state as it arrives, at our facility where the autopsy is performed. That includes documenting the condition of the body with photographs and diagrams and written notes. Following that, if there's reason for evidence collection, and typically that's going to be in concert with a law enforcement agency, then evidence collection.
Good morning, Regina.
Yes, good morning, Regina.
Welcome.
It's Friday.
Suffering your jocks.
Ensues. After the
You've
initial
been
part of the
warned.
examination and the evidence
Yeah.
collection, then there is a more detailed examination looking for identifying characteristics,
Hey, Grandma.
changes that might represent natural disease, and then any injuries that are
Good
present.
morning, Grandma.
Everybody in the house.
After all of that, then I think what many people might consider the traditional part of the autopsy begins, which is the internal examination, where the body is examined internally for, again, the same kind of changes of injuries and natural diseases.
And is that the process you followed in the autopsy of Mr. Benefield?
It is.
Thank you. And during your autopsy, are photos taken to document injuries found, if any, on the body?
Yes.
And in this case of the autopsy of Mr. Benefield, were pictures taken?
Yes.
Gabby.
Here, I may approach the witness.
Yes.
Take a left at Albuquerque. Oh, that's a real thing for you guys, isn't it?
Probably.
Can I see the photographs, please?
Yes, they're the same as the ones you just looked at.
I was hoping you saw that, Grandma. Haha, Gabby.
So there's three.
Gabby's going to get grounded by Grandma. It's going to be hilarious.
Grandma told you off.
And she put your words back to you. Don't tell me I live my life.
And
Even
we
better.
have another sidebar. Yay, already.
I always have my pants on.
Well, she's going to put them back in order for me while we do that. During your autopsy, did you determine the height and weight of Mr. Benefield?
I determined the height and the body length, as that's what we measure with the body reclined on the table. I think it's a very close approximation to height. It might not be exactly the same.
Yes, sir. And what was Mr. Benefield's weight at the time of his homicide?
It was 169 pounds.
And the length?
The body length was measured to be 69 inches, or 5 foot
Of
9
course
inches.
it was.
Thank you for confirming.
My favorite number.
During your external exam, as we discussed, those injuries are documented in these photos as well. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm going to now show you. Sorry, Judge, just bear with me.
We need Chrissy here for a whisper.
Yeah.
Wearing a scarf. Grandma after dark is the best.
Dr. Baker, I want to try this one more time. I'm going to show you 86 through 97. Would you mind taking a look at those photos and telling me if you recognize them?
Well, seeing as we've got everyone here in the chat, just hang on 1 second.
AJ, it's your special day. Time to laugh and time to play. Baby smiles from ear to ear. All your friends and family here. Candles bright and cake so sweet. Tapping toes to the beat. Internet loves you so. Happy birthday, let's all go. AJ, we sing loud. Debbie makes us proud. Happy birthday to you, dear. Celebrate with love and cheer. Presents wrapped in colors bright. Starry skies light up the night. Messages pour in online. Wishing you a day divine. AJ danced and Debbie laughed. Memories that always last. Feel the love across the screen. Happy birthday, shining queen. AJ, we sing loud. Debbie makes us proud. Happy birthday to you, dear. Celebrate with love and cheer. AJ, we sing loud. Debbie makes us proud. Happy birthday to you, dear. Celebrate with love and cheer.
That was like the best.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Oh my goodness. I actually completely forgot. I had no idea.
And thank you, Grandma, for the beautiful background.
You guys are awesome. I don't even know what to say. Like, that was amazing.
We are sneaky.
You are sneaky. I forgot.
I'm not crying, you're crying.
I am.
Shut up.
Grandma, AJ told me to shut up.
I'm keeping
there was
it
no-
together. If you don't,
There was no
stop it.
presentation for the medical examiner. I just had to get control of the, the thing today so I could put it up.
Oh my
so
goodness.
I lied.
Oh, it's
I
okay.
lied.
Man, you guys got me.
It was
That
a
was
believable
good.
story, though, wasn't it?
It was. I even told Bree, like, she's got some graphics
Yeah.
on these wounds. And
Yeah.
she's like, oh yeah.
Gabby,
love
I told her
wounds.
I did a special presentation on how the bullet entered the lungs and what damage it did inside. So I had to start the stream myself.
That is
Wonderful
awesome,
birthday
Jody.
talk.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
guys got me.
I
Oh
will
my
send it to
goodness.
you. Happy
That was
birthday for
amazing.
tomorrow,
That was
sweetheart.
that was the best thing I've ever had. Like,
I will definitely email it to you all.
thank you. Like, that was
All right.
amazing. I don't even,
You're
I
welcome.
can't, I don't know what to say except thank you. It was awesome. And thank you for
No
reminding
problem.
me my birthday was tomorrow.
Boomer.
I completely forgot I saw that coming on. I was like, what is this? I was like, oh,
Well,
oh yeah.
you're only 29 once.
That's well,
Uh-huh.
I was 35 twice because I skipped it and went to 36. And then my doctor told me I was 35. And I was like, no, I'm 36. She's like, no, you're 35. So no, I was 36 twice. I was
Yeah.
never 35. So
You're
it was
35.
36.
Paid extra.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right. From the white swan to the black swan.
Yeah. Grandma told you, Gabby. Can't tell me I live my life on my birthday.
Excuse me.
Okay,
Share my
Grandma.
stage.
That's like, so Jody, you're already in my birthday, right? You're it's like my birthday over there, right?
It's the 26th today.
Oh, it's still the 26th over there. Oh yeah, you're just at nighttime.
Yeah.
Daytime. I know somebody's gonna say
In
it.
an hour and
Nighttime.
40.
Daytime. Nighttime. Daytime.
Well, guys, thank you. Thank you for all the messages. They were all so sweet.
You're welcome.
You guys made me feel really good. Thank you.
Yay.
Made my day. Made me a
And
lot happier
some
than that
evidence
woman.
that was as they were in September of 2020.
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, I'd ask to enter states 86 through 97.
No objection.
Received.
Thank you. And generally, when you examine Mr. Benefield's body, I'm going to display them up here in just a moment.
Okay.
And there's one there. Did you find injuries on the outside of his body?
I did. Yes.
And where were they? And we'll talk about them in detail, but generally, where were they?
There was an injury to the right side of his chest. There was an injury to his right shoulder, and there was an injury to his right leg.
And did he have any injuries to his face or head?
No. Well, he did have to his head. Yes. I'm sorry, not his face.
And what type of injury was that?
The injury to his head was what we would typically call in medical terminology, we'd call an abraded contusion. That's a swollen and scraped bruise. And it was on the very back of his scalp at what we'd call the occipital protuberance, or the lump at the very back of the head.
And what would that type of injury be consistent with?
Typically, it's from falling backward and striking the head.
And when you were looking at his external injuries, did you have some opinion as to what had caused them, specifically the chest and the leg?
Yes.
Okay. And what did you feel that they were?
They were gunshot wounds.
And did you then conduct an internal exam?
Yes.
And did that internal exam confirm what you felt about that they were gunshot wounds?
Yes.
And I'm going to display behind you states 86. Oh, again. And I believe this is generally what we call an identification photo. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And is that Mr. Benefield as he was in September of 2020?
Yes.
Thank you. And then let's first talk about the injuries you said he suffered to the chest. You said that was a gunshot wound?
Yes.
And how many defects in his body were associated with the chest wound?
There was one defect, and that was on the upper right side of the chest.
And is that what we see here in states 87?
It is, although we're also seeing the injury to his right arm area as well. Actually, that's the one that has the marker on it. And the chest injury is just above and to the right of that, at least according to the viewpoint of the viewer of this photo.
And for orientation purposes, this is his right side.
Oh, George and Adair didn't see it. Sarah. Bummer. Oh, we can play it again later.
Side of his body.
It is, and I'll use the laser pointer to indicate this is the arm injury, and that's the chest injury, just to the right side of his right nipple.
And was there, you said there was only one injury. Does that mean this is an entrance wound?
That's correct.
Was there any, and there was no corresponding exit?
That is also correct.
And did you locate a projectile that was associated with this chest wound?
I did.
And where was it?
It was lodged
Big
in the
piercing.
tissues of the left side of the back.
I'm going to show you states 88. I believe that's a close-up of the injury we saw on his chest.
It is.
And then can you kind of orient the jury as to what we're looking at in states 89?
Yes, this is the back of Mr. Benefield's body. He has been rolled up onto his left side. So what we're seeing here is his back, the
Yes,
head here.
Brian, you can.
So this is the left shoulder. The right shoulder will be up here. This is the left side of his back, and it's this purple area right here that represents where the projectile was lodged under the skin and the tissue.
And did you remove it?
I did.
I'm going to show you states 90. Is that the removal process for the projectile from Mr. Benefield's body?
It is. In order to visualize it and then remove it, I made an incision in the skin, which you see here. And then just for documentation purposes, I reflected the skin with the tip of the scissors so that we could photograph the projectile in place in the tissue prior to its removal.
And Dr. Vega, I'm sorry, I'm going to go back to states 89. Where you described his body, but there's some skin discoloration. Can you explain to the jury why his skin looks red or darker?
Certainly. That is what we
Lividity.
call lividity. Lividity is the settling of blood in the tissues that occurs after death when the heart's no longer pumping, and the major force acting on it is gravity. When somebody's lying on their back after death, which is typically what we see, we are of the usual process of putting somebody on their back in a dignified position after death. And so the blood typically does settle into the back, and we see this purplish coloration here, which is a result of that. There's some here as well. This area here where there isn't any discoloration.
Once you see that, you know exactly what it is, don't you? Have you seen that, Bri? Lividity?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
where the red fluid settles. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like when before my mom hadn't passed away yet, they kept telling me about modeling or something.
Yeah, it goes
was
all
that.
modelly.
Yeah, that was weird to see.
Mm,
I didn't like that.
no. And the chain stoking, that's what gets me.
I don't know what that is.
Bri
What's
would.
I don't know.
It's where it's
Breathing.
almost sort of like sleep apnea. Yeah, they take a couple of breaths and then stop, and then take another breath and then stop.
Yeah, fortunately we didn't, because they warned us about stuff like that, but they didn't.
Mm,
Nothing like that happened, fortunately. So
yeah. That was a bit dreary. Sorry.
yeah, it was.
Except where the bullet is because this is where the table was pressing up against the skin, and that pressure kept the blood from settling in those areas. So most of this purple discoloration is lividity, with the exception of this area right here, which is due to a little bit of bruising associated with the placement of the bullet there.
And Dr. Vega, I'm going to show you what's been pre-marked as
Yeah.
states 14. Would you take a look at
Yeah,
that?
it's not nice.
If you recognize it.
Yes, I do.
And how do you recognize it?
This is the projectile that I recovered from the back that you could see in the photograph you had up previously.
And other than having been repackaged for trial purposes, does it appear to be in the same or substantially the same condition as when you removed it from Mr. Benefield's back?
It does, yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would ask to enter states 14.
No objection received.
And Doctor, I'm going to show you states 95. Is this the same projectile that you have there in states 14?
Yes, it is.
And what, if you know,
I just saw
is
that.
that red part that's next to the projectile?
This is a small rubber plug that is occasionally found in certain hollow point type projectiles. Not all hollow point projectiles have these rubber plugs, but it's part of the process of creating this hollow point that allows the projectile to expand and deform, as we see in this case here.
Thank you. And so going back to the location of the projectile, based on where the entrance wound was and the where you found the projectile, did you determine a path of travel that projectile took through Mr. Benefield's body?
I did.
And what was the path of travel?
So the path of travel was one of entering the right side of the chest, striking the 5th rib on the right side, the right lung, the 10th vertebral body on the in the middle of the spine, then the left lung, the 10th rib, and then the soft tissues of the back until it stopped where it is. And that path then, if one were standing upright and straight, would be from the right side toward the left, from the front towards the back, and essentially horizontal. In other words, without angling upward or downward. And again, that's relative to a standing upright position.
Yes, sir. And would you mind, would you be so kind as to stand up and kind of point on your body to where the entrance wound would be?
Certainly.
Well, she's about the same height as he is too, I think, isn't she? She's quite tall.
And where
Gotta be
would the
tall,
exit
yeah.
be?
Well, no exit. But
I'm sorry, the projectile.
The projectile,
Yes, sir.
my mobility is a little limited, but essentially would be in the back over here, where the tip of my thumb is.
Thank you. And would you just turn back so we can see the entrance again?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that was sneaky what she just did right there. Because
Showing from side to side.
turn and then turn front, and that was kind of, that was sneaky. I don't like I hate when they do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I got it too. Thank you. I tried.
Excellent.
And you said that the wound was front to back. Was it, and from how you showed, you said it was essentially horizontal.
Yes,
It wasn't front to back like it went straight through. Can you describe it?
certainly. I mean, it went through an angled path through the body, and that angle took it from the front toward the back, but at a greater angle from right to left.
Thank you. And you said that it struck his ribs and his lungs and his vertebral.
His
Body.
vertebral body,
Thank you.
The spine.
His spine.
yes.
And would that injury have been immediately fatal?
Probably not.
And would it have incapacitated, if you can say, incapacitated Mr. Benefield quickly?
I think it would have incapacitated him quickly. Whether or not it was immediate, I don't think one can predict.
Thank you, sir. I'm now going to take you to the arm wound. Was this wound different from the wound we saw in Mr. Benefield's chest?
Yes.
And how so? And this, for the record, states 91.
Yes. What one can maybe not
Thanks, Captain.
clearly appreciate just from viewing the photo, but was clearly evident at the time of the examination, is that this is only a surface wound. So what you see as the mark on the skin here is the full extent of this injury. So it's an abrasion or a scrape on the skin, but outside of the effect on the skin, nothing deeper was involved with this injury.
Thank you, sir.
To me,
And
a
then
flesh wound.
finally, you said he was also shot in the leg. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So I'm going to show you states 92. Can you orient the jury as to what we're looking at on Mr. Benefield's body?
Yes, and this is a little bit of a tough one orientation wise, but the injury is to the back of his leg. So what we're seeing here is the back of the leg, and it's excuse me, the calf area here. This is a perforation of that calf. Yeah, I think that's the best way to describe it, the calf area.
And the chest wound we saw entered and did not exit. Was this wound the same or was it different?
It was different
And how so?
because this injury did indeed have an exit.
And where did you locate the exit?
The exit was on the right side of the knee.
And Dr. Vega, how can you, and I have a picture of that, but before we move on to that, how can you tell the difference between an entrance and an exit wound?
It's not always possible, but typically entrance wounds have more of a well-defined defect in the skin. Frequently, that defect in the skin is paralleled by defect in the tissues that one can appreciate underneath. Many times, the edge of the skin perforation or the edge of the skin defect will have a ring or at least an arc of abrasion or scraping as the bullet passes through. Exit wounds tend to not have those features. One way that I like to think about this is it's like a very fast moving awl or punch, in that it goes in and it almost drills a hole into the skin. But when it exits, what it does is it tenses up the skin until the skin tears. That's how a bullet exits. So typically the tear doesn't have the same well-defined drilled appearance that the entrance wound rather does. And in this case, that's exactly what we see.
And I'll show you 93 that correct me if I'm wrong, but that is the exit wound associated with the entrance we just saw.
That's correct.
And I have a close up. This is states 94. And so can you kind of show the jury how you knew this was an exit wound?
Yes. So this injury does not appear to be a round or drilled type of defect, but rather a tear in the skin that occurred when the skin was stretched until
so
its
awesome.
breaking point.
Thank you, Grandma.
She's so
awesome. That's awesome. Thank you.
By the bullet trying to exit.
And were you able to determine the wound path for this injury?
Yes.
And what was it?
So the wound path started at the back of the leg and went through the musculature of the calf.
Morning.
Hi, Kim. How you doing?
Happy Friday.
Yes. Buckle up, Kim. I don't know if you've been on our Friday stream for a while. It may seem a little quiet right now, but trust me, we'll wake up.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't tell for certain if the path actually went through the bones or if it passed right next to the bones, but because of blast effect, injured them, causing fracture. The amount of tissue damage can make that part difficult to separate out. And that was the case here. After doing that and fracturing the very top part of the leg bones, the tibia and the fibula, it then exited through this exit defect on the lower right side of the knee.
And I hate to ask you, but would you mind stepping down and showing us on your leg where this entered and where it exited?
Certainly.
Thank you. If you're more comfortable, you can. It's easier. Yes, sir.
Mr. Taylor, if you need to reposition so you can see, please feel free to do so.
It usually goes off the rails,
So on me,
and my credibility disappears.
I can put my finger there.
And we have the picture to prove it. Hey, Bob.
Hey, Bob. Thank you, Bob. Thank you.
That's lovely.
Yes, it is. Thanks, Bob. Appreciate it.
So here to here.
Yes.
And so that's, you said slightly up or up.
It's upward from the right toward the left, and from back to front. Yes, largely all three of those components.
Thank you. Well, you know what, Dr. Vega, while you're down here, just for clarification, would you show me again the chest wound? Just because I think you're easier to see now that made you get off the stand.
Entrance. Lodged bullet.
Would you just spin one time? Just turn so they can see. Thank you.
Keep turning.
Thank you
so
so
Pirouette.
much, Dr. Vega. I
and
appreciate
it's
that.
back.
Mr. Taylor, were you able to see both of those demonstrations?
Yes, Judge White, thank you.
Dr. Vega, was there any physical evidence associated with this injury that was recovered from Mr. Benefield's body?
From the leg injury?
Yes, sir.
Yes, there was.
And I'm going to show you states 15. You'll take a look at that and tell me if you recognize it.
Yes, I do.
And how do you recognize it?
This is the lead fragment which was recovered from Mr. Benefield's leg, just deep to the exit defect.
And how does this differ from the projectile? Like you're saying fragment. What does that mean compared to the projectile?
Well, as we've already discussed, we have an entrance and an exit here. So essentially, the projectile exited the body. Before it did, a small piece of it broke off and remained in the tissues. This is that piece, and that's what I recovered at the autopsy.
Thank you, sir. And other than having been repackaged for trial purposes, does it appear to be in the same or substantially the same condition as when you removed it from Mr. Benefield's body?
It does.
Thank you. Your Honor, the state would ask to enter States 15.
Don't judge.
Received.
Thank you. And Dr. Vega, I have a photo of States, this is States 97. Is that the same item that is in States 15?
Yes.
Thank you. Did you find any, I'm going to go back to the, well, Dr. Vega, what is stippling?
Stippling is a term we use to describe certain changes that occur in association with gunshot injuries. It refers to the pattern on the skin or any other target of unburned gunpowder fragments that strike that target and create a pattern.
And did you find any stippling associated with the gunshot wound to Mr. Benefield's leg?
I did not.
Did you find any with a wound associated with his chest?
I did not.
And what, if anything, does the absence of stippling tell you? Specifically, we'll talk about the leg first.
The absence reflects the same principle in either injury. And what it means is that typically when the weapon was discharged, it was far enough away so that the unburned gunpowder fragments, which are ejected with the bullet, had a chance to lose velocity and fall away prior to striking the skin. In general, typically that means that the muzzle of the weapon was more than 3 feet away from the target or the skin in this case. But any more precise determinations require, the test firing of a weapon, same weapon or same style of weapon with the same ammunition to try and get more specific information.
And for the chest wound, if he were wearing a shirt when he was...
Do I want to know what that is, Bri?
I was thinking, isn't that a stapler? Isn't that a stapler?
I have no idea.
My stapler is a swing line.
It's probably.
Yeah,
Oh, there
it
you
is.
go.
All right. I thought so. Yay, me.
Is it red?
The shot with that effect, what you would find on his body.
He's quick.
Yes.
That was why I was asking separately. And so to be clear, you said the muzzle. So would that mean that if it's not necessarily the body of the shooter, but if they had their arm extended or even here, it's the end of the gun from Mr. Benefield's body.
That's right.
And I know you determined a path of travel
That's
and we're
hilarious.
still talking about the leg injury. For this leg injury, but does it tell you this path of travel anything about where the shooter would have been standing?
All it really tells me is the relative position of the weapon to the leg at the time that the weapon was fired.
Yes, sir.
And trying to come up with the relative position of the shooter at the time that the weapon was discharged is much more complicated because both the shooter and the victim, and specifically the victim's leg, can be in multiple different positions and still end up with that required relative position of the gun to the leg and still create this same injury.
And Your Honor, may I have just one moment?
Did no one hear that?
What, you crunchy? I heard it. I was waiting for ASMR 9 to come in.
I was hiding behind the chat, shoveling Doritos in my mouth.
Yeah, I heard you. I was just letting you enjoy it.
Cool.
Yes.
It was good.
Delicious. Somebody somewhere was like, oh man.
Dr. Vega, if hypothetically,
What do you call cheese that isn't yours? Nacho cheese. Yep. Welcome to Friday.
Oh, you know
Mr.
what?
Benefield
All I
were
could think of was
falling,
nada.
would it make sense?
I was like, nada doesn't fit in there.
Nacho cheese.
Yeah, nacho cheese. I couldn't get it. My brain was not working yet.
That his legs would flip up in the air enough for this path of travel. Does that make sense?
Why would his leg flip up in the
Um,
air?
If this injury were sustained while he was falling,
Yes.
then the injury would be sustained while his body is changing its position and in motion. But regardless, at the time the weapon was fired, the muzzle of the weapon would still have to be, relatively speaking, below, to the left of, and behind the right leg in order to get this particular angle of path of travel through the leg.
Thank you. And can you tell when you conduct an autopsy, and specifically in Mr. Benefield's, which of these wounds occurred in what order?
I cannot.
And once you completed your autopsy, did you order toxicology testing?
Yes,
And was that done in this case?
it was.
And was there any drugs or alcohol found in Mr. Benefield's body?
No, there were not.
And finally, based on everything that you did during your autopsy, did you determine the cause of death?
I did.
And what was that?
I determined the cause of death to be a gunshot wound to the chest that caused perforation of the lung, or the lungs, both lungs, with hemothoraces. It's a fancy word for bleeding that occurs in the chest.
And I didn't ask you this, but I guess, could you explain, so once this bullet entered Mr. Benefield and started to travel through his lungs, what would have been happening inside his body, or what would happen right after?
The primary things that happen there are that very rapid bleeding starts to occur. The bleeding is rapid because the lungs are very vascular. And so when they're damaged, they bleed very quickly. And also there's no impediment to the bleeding. The cavity around the lung can expand very rapidly to accommodate bleeding. So the bleeding that happens as a result of a gunshot wound to the lung is very rapid. In addition to the bleeding, when the lung gets a hole in it, it no longer holds its shape and its anatomical arrangements, and it collapses to some extent. That collapse is made worse by the accumulating blood pressing on the lung as well. So the combination of physiological effects of bleeding and lung collapse are the primary things that are occurring in the body at the time that, or immediately following the bullet passing through the lung.
Thank you. And did you determine the manner of death in this case?
I did.
And what was that?
I determined the manner of death to be homicide.
Your Honor, may I have just one moment?
Yes.
I always got to end with that. Always, always, always. And then the defense will come up and be like, now homicide can be caused by a lot of things, right?
I don't have anything else, Dr. Vega. Thank you. The defense may.
Mr. Taylor Cross, and of course the question is, do you need this?
I do not.
Yeah, I think he just asked a couple of questions, pretty much like what you said.
Yes, sir.
Afternoon, Dr. Vega.
Good afternoon.
Haven't seen you for a while. How's that new facility that you're in?
Very nice. Thank you.
Just a few questions, if I may. I think you told us that the deceased was 169 pounds and stood 5 feet 9 inches tall.
Correct. Yes.
Muscular build.
I don't think I use that terminology. I think I just talked about the weight and the body length.
I want to ask you mentioned about hollow.
Is that to me, Bri, or is that to? I did get the coffee. The coffees you bought me, naughty boy. Yes, thank you.
I hear typing.
Did he just ask? He goes, yeah.
Points.
Yeah, I was
Oh.
looking around too.
Question about hollow points is that they are more lethal. The fact
I'm with you
is
now.
it not true that the
Me too.
hollow point is designed to expand when it goes through tissue?
Yes, that's right.
The theory being it's to stop a bullet from exiting and harming someone else.
That's certainly part of the philosophy or utility of having a hollow point projectile.
And when you tell us that the wound was probably not fatal, within a reasonable degree of medical science, and I think you made it pretty clear, you really can't say one way or another that upon being shot like that, he would have dropped immediately, that he may have continued for a couple of seconds.
Yes, that's right.
The stippling issue about gunpowder, it's from a distance of approximately, you told us, 3 feet.
Roughly, yes.
Okay, that's, so when you exceed more than 3 feet, you would not expect to find stippling.
That's correct.
Okay, and you didn't find any stippling on his shirt.
I didn't examine his shirt.
Okay, so
Drink that
if
water,
somebody
Bri.
were backing away while they were firing and they got beyond that 3-foot range, there may not be any stippling.
That's correct.
All right. You said that the wound to the scalp was indicative of, you traditionally see it, of somebody falling backwards and hitting a hard surface like a tile floor.
Yes.
I want to ask you just a couple other questions. Are all homicides crimes?
Objection, Judge. No, it's expertise.
I'll allow it if the witness has the knowledge to answer.
In my experience, homicide, as determined by a medical examiner, has a certain medical legal significance, which does not necessarily imply criminality.
Okay. In simple language, it could be excusable,
Objection, cause for legal.
I'll sustain.
justifiable. I think if it's within his knowledge, Your Honor.
No, I'm going to sustain because that's asked for a legal conclusion as opposed to a medical conclusion.
All right.
But I had
You
to check.
mentioned, Dr. Vega, that you could
Yeah.
not determine the order of the shots.
That's correct.
Okay, there is no medical method of being able to say which shot came first, which shot came second.
In certain cases, the physiological findings may help you with that, but in this case, no.
Would it be a fair statement for me to say that for the chest shot, the weapon would have had to have been pointing at his chest from the front?
Yes.
Good question.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just check, Your Honor. I think that might
Yes, sir.
conclude.
Yep, I agree, Brian. But I'm sure the state will come back and have him turn around again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you spin around for us, please?
Wait for it.
Last question with respect to the length.
But wait, there's more.
You've told us that the gun would have had
Go
to
ahead.
have been lower than the leg to get that
Yes.
upward trajectory.
Good morning, Adair.
Yes, although I would say
Good
that
morning,
lower is a
Adair.
relative term,
Yeah.
and legs can be put into various different positions. And if we're going to say lower, then it needs to be clear that lower means with respect to the leg in an upright position. And if the leg were horizontal, for example, then we might be talking about a position which is above the leg, but pointing up towards the head of the body, for example.
Okay, so let's try to be clear here. If Mr. Benefield fell backwards and his legs went up in the air, might that injury be consistent with that?
Given that scenario, it's possible.
I believe that's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you, Dr. Baker.
State, any redirect?
Yes, Dr. Vega, I don't want it to be unclear. The gun would have, for the chest wound, the gun would have had to have been in front of Mr. Benefield's body. That's what you said.
Yes.
But it didn't enter his chest. It entered, or the front of him, it entered through the side.
Yes. So the weapon did have to be in front of him, but even more so, it had to be to his right side.
And based on your training and experience, is it typical that if somebody were to fall backwards, that their legs would go above their heads when falling?
Without the intervention of something to fall over, an ottoman, a chair, or something like that, it seems unlikely.
And if Mr. Benefield were running or his legs were up in the back, could the angle have also been accomplished?
Yes.
Thank you, doctor. I don't have anything else.
They say the angle of the gunshot wound to his calf was at an odd angle, so that it sounded like she either had to be crouched down when she did it because it sort of went in level. But I think from her, if I remember correctly, there was a statement that she made early on that she remembers seeing his legs go up in the air or something like that. Or someone said that. Can't remember where, but
I've seen people fall down and sometimes they don't fall over anything, but they just fall back with so much force that their legs go up in the air. Like I don't know. But he didn't say it wasn't possible.
no.
So
Potato.
yeah.
That's all.
All right, can the witness be released?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So
So
you're released from your subpoena, you're free to go.
I saw somebody in one of the comment sections say that I don't know if it was male or female, doesn't matter. The way that they took the rounds. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, Sarah.
Thank you so much, Sarah. You are awesome. Gabby sent me the rest of the drawings. So you're amazing. Thank you so much. I don't even know what to say to you guys. Yes, that too. But they were saying like he was maybe standing in like a warrior pose, which I was thinking, well, he wasn't doing yoga. But that he was in maybe a stance of some martial arts, getting ready to kick her, like do a kick.
Okay.
So I don't know. I was kind of trying to figure that out in his testimony. But it skipped off his bicep and then entered his chest cavity. Then they forgot that part. They just went over that. Like so he had to be more to the right. It doesn't mean he was retreating.
Nope.
And it doesn't mean
Well,
she wasn't on the floor.
I think that's what the prosecution is, how they're They're saying that he was running away from her, and that's how he got that leg wound, the angle of that leg wound.
Mm-hmm.
But so you don't know who, since we don't know what hit first.
Exactly.
We don't know, did he get hit because he was coming after her, hit the bicep, he turned to go, didn't make it very far, fell, and she got his leg. I don't
Reasonable
know.
doubt.
And then they said, somebody in the other chats were saying, well, why didn't she just call 911 from there? But he said he wasn't completely incapacitated by the wounds in his chest instantly, that he was not. He could have still been moving towards
He
her.
wouldn't have been able to chase her, though. No way.
Not chasing, but she just, in that, you're talking seconds.
Yeah, she just would have fled. She had the gun in her hand still. She ran next door, and she didn't even check to see if he was still alive. She didn't know.
Right. She just ran. And they
Yep.
were giving her crap because she left the house and ran away. I'm like, but she didn't hide anything. She called, like, she didn't not call.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they were inside, Sarah, in her bedroom. Or one of the bedrooms, I think.
So there was 4 rounds fired, Sarah, but only 2 hit him.
2 hits, yeah.
And
People
are getting that
jammed.
mixed up.
One of the casings got caught.
All the scary movies I've seen, if you stay in the house, you get killed.
And they never turn the lights on.
Get out of the house. Get out of the house.
They never turn the lights on.
And don't walk by them because they're going to grab
Yeah.
you. Like, don't try to slowly step over them. Sarah, one they think skipped off his bicep and entered his chest, and that one did not. That one kind of bounced around a little bit and did not exit. The other one was in his right leg, and that one did go through.
Right through.
Hairspray and a lighter. That didn't work out so well in it. I'm just saying.
I do that with spiders.
Aww.
Joking. I'm gonna set my house on fire. All right, now I think there's one, firearms crime lab analyst who's about 10 minutes long or so, and that's it. So we
Yeah, he didn't have much to say.
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
I don't need to know anything about this. It's a weapon. She knows how to use it. And if she's had any training at all, you are not taught to go, okay, well, fire. If you have a threat in front of you, you're not taught to be like, fire once and see what happens. You are taught to, you neutralize the threat no matter what that means. You know what I mean? Carmen, yes, we can play it again at night. You tell us when you're ready. We'll play it again.
You've all got it now, so I can swap whenever you're ready. If you want to make it a clean day 4, fresh start.
It's up to you. How long do you think you're gonna go?
Fine.
I mean,
I don't know, but I won't go the whole. Won't be able to do the whole thing.
Okay. Give me a second. Give me a sec. Because I had it set for like 1 p.m.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Sorry.
I just need to. Sorry, I was trying to read what Sarah said.
If the shots were to some areas, e.g. the back, it would be bad.
It was not
came from
any in the back.
No.
It was, it went from the front side-ish to his back, but it did not exit the back.
No.
If that's right, if I have that right.
From right to left, but from nipple region to like back shoulder, left shoulder region in a straight line almost.
Which even goes more to that it skipped off that bicep.
Mm-hmm. No, it didn't go through the chest. It lodged in behind the left shoulder. The one in his calf muscle went through and through. So basically, I just set up this little stream to catch up with day 3 and to be able to play Deb's happy birthday message, because when she's running the stream, I can't add anything to it. So we're going to do a crossover again now. So Deb's going to take over the running of the stream for day 4.
I'm
of
going
the
to
Black Swan
exit
file.
and I'll start the other one. I'm going to exit this one and
Yep.
I'll start the other one. And then I'll send you
So we
guys
just need to
invites as soon as I get there.
switch. Yep, no worries.
Marvy.
Little hopscotch through the bicep. Yeah, it just scratched it, apparently. Just scraped it. So you need to head to alternate juror, and her link will be up. Just click on her, the exact same thumbnail. Day 4 is all you need to do. And when she sends the link through, I'll shut the stream down. Was that birthday message all right, Bri?
Oh yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah? Excellent.
Wonderful
Oop.
job.
Oh, good on Gabby for organising all that. That was well done. She did well. And thank you for everyone that left the messages. That's great. I'm sure she'll be playing that back later. Who's watching that? Thanks, Gabby. All right. Well, I will sign off here. We have the link. So head on over to alternate juror peoples. See you shortly.
All righty.
Bye-bye.